news. What has gone on? What is going around the tabletop board game side of things that you should know about? What's new? What's interesting? What's caught my eye? Or just what should you know about, especially if you have any inkling of wanting to know what to expect, what to be aware of, or what to avoid. Let's just start off with the hype machine running hot post-Essen and even pre-Essen. One of the companies best known for raising up the most hype on the retail side of things, Stonemaier Games, in their latest release in the form of Origin Stories. Well, when you think of Stonemaier Games, I'm sure you think of trick-taking, asymmetric powers? What? Tableau building? Okay, we're getting closer. But that's what Origin Stories is, with an asymmetric build your hero, get sidekicks, and use powers that are obtained in this way to break the trick-taking rules in the first place. The Essen hype is hot and heavy, and all your usual people that are covering his games had content all of a sudden blast out embargo-wide when that went kablooey. And is it interesting to you? It's being very divisive right now of things of, well, it's a great intro to trick-taking, but also the comments on the other side of the board being, this isn't doing anything we haven't seen in many other games. However, speaking with the hype and the hotness, 25th Century seems to be striking gold with Arydia Reprints, and if this one is anything like their previous work on Ra, with the combination of an out-of-print Arydia and an O'Toole art design, the reprint coming in 2026 now of Tigris and Euphrates looks to be just frankly in terms of their presentation. And as long as it's more raw and less Castles of Burgundy Agricola or even Terra Mystica, well, we'll have an absolute potential treasure on our hand. And I say that as someone who owns one of the older editions, who should probably put out a video comparing all of them, because that would be relevant. But I am super hyped by this one because the excellence that was the Ra remake, I'm expecting as high of standards and quality to come out of 25th Century with this one as well. Then why is Wizard Games known for, obviously, your Hero Realms, your Star Realms, and the more recent Robot Quest Arena just announced with their latest update that they're cutting staff. But don't worry, in case you're pledging a couple $100 for their latest crowdfunding campaigns, it's just going to take longer to get your stuff. And it totally won't affect you getting your stuff at all, though. For sure. Totally. Maybe. We hope not. Speaking of the hype, how do you feel about another Nemesis? No, sorry, Everdell. Although, you know what? It has been a while since we've talked about Nemesis, so would you be surprised if between now and the end of the year, Awakened Realms... No, I would be surprised between now and the end of the year. But would you be surprised in 2026 if there was a new Nemesis game announced? I wouldn't be whatsoever. If it makes that much money, there will be another. But, speaking of there will be another, Everdell. And some very interesting artwork. Emerland is the title. We've had the original. We've had the original with the expansions. We've had Farshore. I covered the more recent Silverfrost. Okay, so what is this next one going to offer? Sometime in 2026, on crowdfunding again, coming to Kickstarter. Jungles! They're vast and dense, as if that matters. Again, descriptions of board games just amuse me so much. You're doing the usual thing, putting your workers down, gathering your resources, playing your cards. Okay, you've heard all this before. But the change here is apparently maybe some flipping of the cards. I'm not really sure how I feel about the artwork yet, though. Is this the one to get? I actually like Silverfrost. You know, if you asked me of the original plus or minus an expansion, Farshore, or Silverfrost prior to this, I would have said Silverfrost hands down. But it begs the question then, when you put more iterations out, is the latest one always going to be the best? When I was just filming those Essen videos, I ran across the Dofromantic in 2024, which had the Sakura standalone expansion, which is actually rated higher than the original Dofromantic, which was weird because the original Dofromantic was the 2023 Spiel winner. So people think it was better than this. Anyway, but that's where this goes. What have you done for me lately? And if it's good, some is good, more is better. More as in more money. The other more interesting announcement that sort of snuck under the radar there from Alderac was AEG. I'm probably mispronouncing that, so we'll just call him AEG from Alman and Forever, and I probably should have led with that in the first place. Reimplementation. Reimplementation, right? Reimplementation of John DeClaire's, well, you know what he's known for, right? The transparent cards. So which one am I going to talk about? Well, it's Mystic Vale turning into very different here, Mystic Lands. It says flat out, if you loved this, you're going to love this even more, right? And as I was saying earlier with the other iteration, is this what Mystic Vale should have been before they put out like the 37 expansions? To play as a druid, shaping a pristine world. Why does it have to be a pristine world? Why? Why can't it be chaotic? Why can't it be jagged? Why can't it be, you know what I'm saying? Before the blight, harness your mana, balance the elements, become the avatar. Bring beauty to the first lands. Card level crafting. Re-engineer, no busting though. They're flat out saying as a straight mechanical difference to apparently keep momentum and to allow you to cycle through your cards faster, shorter turns. And apparently there's something called a living map that you're going to venture across. I have no idea. Mystic Vale was one of those, this sounds like a good premise, and I'm not really sure I like it at all. And I don't know if this is going to change my opinion on it, but we'll see, right? Some is good, more is better. League of Legends has thrown their hat into the Magic the Gathering ring style of the Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Vibe, in the sense that they are trying to market the TCG lifestyle tabletop situation into extra buco bucks. And it just launched on the 31st of October, so we're already seeing potentially people chase after cards, hoping that it's going to be the next Pokemon big thing. You've got a lot of the TCG content creators. You've got a few of the board game creators throwing their hat in there as well, too, trying to market up the views off of the hottest new property, maybe, around the block. TCG Player has stuff for sale and chase cards ranging all the way into the high hundreds of dollars already, especially, well, and only if they have a signature. And so, again, it begs the question, are these good cards? Are they just chasing after random rarities? They're definitely doing the rarity and the full art situation that we see with Pokemon, but you don't have a clue how to play it. And most of the people, just like with Pokemon, aren't doing it because they want to actually play it. They're doing it because they're trying to flip an easy buck. And, well, here's another one on the market. And if you want to know a little bit more about the mechanics, go watch one of the 37,000 videos that launched within the last 4 days between me filming this and it going, well, live, essentially. Not kidding, Good Time Society had a video exclusive about 2 or 3 months ago. That's at about 100,000 views. So the League of Legends people are definitely hitting this over hard with a cross-compatibility and cross-interest that we're not seeing a ton of nearly as much on the tabletop side of things. So don't be surprised if you see me try and ride that hype and hot wave as well. If they wanted to send me something, I'd be all for it. The goal of this game is just to reach 8 points by conquering or holding battlefields using might as both your offensive and your defensive situation, choosing your champion, having a main deck and a rune deck to modify things through a, well, 3-phase system that you're going to be slowly using the runes to recycle, exhaust, and ready yourself in order to control these areas in the first place. There are some limitations to the cards in the decks. I'm not going to get into that, but you can go check that out if you're super interested. Then Garphill Games just announced their upcoming release, their next crowdfunding project at the beginning of 2026 in January, called Spirited. And this is important because it's the first time their 3 in-house designers designers have collaborated on a single game in order to give you something that might be of your taste on the tabletop. Branching out, but also sticking with their historic theme in the first place, but now giving you anthropomorphic creatures representing each the historic civilizations that you're well affiliated with, especially the ones that we kind of see with other games like Imperium, Legends, Horizons, that style of things. But it's going to be a little bit different in the same sense because it's a set collection, push your luck, highly, quote unquote, interactive card-based game, selecting 7 of the 12 that you get to play with on a game basis. Unique starting powers tend to add, and so it definitely has those vibes of the Imperium series with a little bit more of a set collection aspect, combining new powers, getting unexpected synergies, forging alliances, constructing wonders, and being the first one to win. And the interesting play count on this is 1 to 6. 40 to 80 minutes coming to Board Game Arena soon, and there's going to be stretch goals, they even said, which is something Garphill has not done in a long time. But essentially they're saying for every 1,000 backers you get an extra free expansion. So who knows what they've got in store for us. And then another interesting announcement. I didn't get an embargo on this, so we're going to talk about it. Just got news from Asmodee that FFG is giving us a new core box set for Arkham Horror, the card game. Yes, you heard me correct. We already have a second edition core box. We are getting a third edition called Chapter 2, going to be coming out at the beginning of 2026. So they're giving you more of the established identity of this game and bringing it all the way back, a remastering like we're seeing on the video game side of things now on the tabletop, giving everything you like about the game, but using some of those established class identities and mechanics that aren't present in the initial core box to also mitigate some of the things that you maybe wanted out of just getting into it in the first place. So more details to be coming, but you may be here first, if nothing else. I'm sure you saw the news as well. You already knew that Zombicide was sold, but now Guillotine Games is giving us a new Zombicide expansion in the form of, coming in 2026, the Squid game. Yes, the Korean drama combination with Asmodee bringing us something that's a potentially standalone set. I have no idea. It looks very vague, and you are one of the red suits, the characters in the game, but it does not appear, at least from the cover, that there is any characterization. So are you just generic? Are you going to have some asymmetry? What are the special powers and upgrades going to be looking like? It says on the general chat, per the Discord, 20 miniatures, 6 workers, 6 soldiers, 6 managers, 1 frontman, and 1 Younghee doll. 4 Squid Game tiles, special equipment, and some ID cards to make yourself one of those unique characters. An abomination, I guess, is used as the frontman, and green cards that are mysterious and interact with the game elements. So, no details, but that's a rough component list. So will it actually be something that should be on your list, or is that just another easy pass if you're a Zombicide aficionado? Did I mention also one of my favorite games ever, The Wandering Towers, Die Wunderlichen Türme, is getting an expansion, and I would have had this out sooner because I saw it actually on a Facebook feed when it went live, but then everyone else picked it up too. Der Zaubertürme is giving you the Magical Tower expansion with a set of modules to mitigate and to cause more craziness in the Wandering Tower. I tried to order it from the publisher's website, but they don't ship outside of Germany, so if somebody in Europe wants to send me a copy, I'll pay for it, and, well, I will talk about it because that is probably one of the expansions I have been most excited for a long time, and I didn't even know it was coming, so I am hyped up beyond belief. By the way, did you know Voidfall, speaking of expansions, has a Resurgence expansion launching sometime in early 2026? New concept added to the game, Psionics, with a new agenda deck. And you're getting reusable abilities. Aren't most abilities reusable? Anyway, new strategies, customize your house, and allows you to launch psionic strikes or range barriers to protect yourself, adding new 6 houses new guilds, new special sectors, new scenarios, and new everything else, including additions to the cooperative mode. Make the symbology easier, and I would be all back in on this one. But Mind Clash is going to Mind Clash, which just reminds me that hopefully sometime soon I'll be having a little review of their latest retail in the form of Emberheart here. So stay tuned for that one as well. Renegade Studios has now picked up the rights for Lords of Waterdeep, which apparently, did you know this? It was out of print. So people were, again, jacking up the price in the secondary market for Lords of Waterdeep. Okay, thanks, but pass. So now you don't have to worry about FOMOing on the retail side of things, and you can just kind of wait around a little bit from that aspect. Catan and Netflix have picked up a new deal and are going to be doing something show-wise, right? Yeah, just what we really need. A Catan-based show? What are you even basing on? Oh, the struggle for farming! Ooh, that's going to be a good one. Agricola is going to be the next one that Hulu's going to pick up. So then we potentially have a little bit more content coming up in the near future for Dead Cells, the roguelite board game that was going to add a little bit of a full release in terms of additional content in the form of the Forgotten Tomb to Board Game Arena. Now, when asked, they said that it wasn't necessarily planned as a physical tabletop plan at this point, but I mean, if it does well and it's well received, I can't believe that it wouldn't get a full release at some point in the near future. Something very interesting that I just got across in my email was a survey from Go On Board. In case you're not familiar, Go On Board, right? Cyberpunk, the Witcher style of things, Path of Destiny, the old world, and the upcoming Legacy. By the way, Go On Board, I'm working on the Tekken review, and I'd love to play Witcher Legacy when it comes out. That is what we're talking about. What we're talking about, though, is the fact that they sent out this IP-based survey, which was basically like, pick any IP that you know. Movies, TV, cartoons, anime. And here are a bunch of ideas that we have also compiled. And what do you think about each of these? From not interested at all to extremely, I'm going to buy it sight unseen, throwing money at the screen. And there weren't too many of the ones that I was terribly interested in. A lot of video games that I don't really care about. A lot of movies that I don't really care about. You know, a couple ubiquitous ones like Dune and Game of Thrones that have been done over and over and over and over and over again. But there were a few interesting ones like Attack on Titan. And they let you name one or two of your own if you were so interested. And you know what your boy did? I did Naruto, I did One Piece. So Go On Board, in case that anonymous survey isn't needing to be anonymous anymore, that was me. And if you could do one of those, that would be freaking amazeballs, absolutely over the frickin' top. And so I just want to say awesome about that. Speaking of awesomeness, Munchkin is getting a second edition. Ha! See what I went there? No, seriously, a brand new edition of the, quote, fan favorite monster slaying, treasure stealing, buddy stabbing card game. Crowdfunding will begin early in 2026. Nope, can't make this stuff up. And that is totally true. The other thing that is totally true as well is that knowing that if some is good, more is more cash, Dead Cells from Scorpion Mosque is going to add more content for it on Board Game Arena this winter. Getting the Darkness of the Forgotten Tomb. Ooh, boy. Now, what does that mean? And I even asked, like, does this mean actually we're going to get a physical copy? And they're like, no, we're going to release it there. But I have to imagine if it's well received, again, with this being the big thing on the business side of things, that's where you're going to go, which is interesting. I ran across a quote literally right before filming this, which talks about the makers of Dead Cells, the video game in the first place, were like, hey, if we were truly just a business, we would have made Dead Cells 2. But instead, we released Windblown, which is another roguelite style game, which has been out in, beta access or alpha access even for a year. And I'm really hoping that maybe gets ported over to Switch so I can actually play it. But that is of interest and tangential, if nothing else. Now, you probably know about the reprint of Cretaceous Rails with the new expansion Cretaceous Sails from Spielcraft. However, their next game also creeped onto my radar as a very intriguing style. We're seeing sort of the cyberpunk, cyber war situation creep back into things with the more recent Tamashii. Obviously, Go On Board Cyberpunk, as well as Deckers, the reskin of Renegades coming out at Essen this year. But now Primacy is going to allow you to forge alliances where reality is blurred between cyberspace and real life, representing factions vying for control of the city after an AI mind control program turns off creating a actual power vacuum, and maybe not a literal vacuum though, because that'd be weird, but power through battles, intrigue, public relations, and something the US is very good at, propaganda. Twist here though, with those different ways of acquiring what you're desiring, is that battles are resolved by secretly committing gear to different objectives with simultaneous reveals. PR to boost your propaganda, loot, and control 3 different sectors in total. But, I mean, again, this is going to be somewhat more of a battle. I mean, there's actual 112 soldiers, they say, along with a 29 different hex-based modular tiles. So, looks a little bit intriguing along the same lines of what they've done previously in a completely different skin. In case you missed out because you weren't willing to shill out $200+ the first time around, you can still get potentially in on the next round of Arydia. The Paths We Dare Tread has a second printing page from Far Off Games up now on GameFound that you can follow. And this is going to be the tricky or maybe even divisive part, because at least at the time of me filming this, there doesn't appear to be any new content listed on the page. So I don't really feel bad about that. I know Kickstarter had their policy of you got to bring something new to the table each time. But if they didn't try and make this even utterly more massive across the board, would you really be that upset at not having to pay a significant amount more additionally? The catch-all keyword jargon that it does a great job at displaying as open world, campaign-based, cooperative, fantasy-based, green, legacy, role-playing, board game. I think it's like people's wet dream of what this game could be. So that's the biggest downside as well, of the minutia that of everything that you do alongside of it. But if it's your thing, it's probably your thing, because this one is well esteemed and absolutely meteorically rising up the board game geeks of other people saying that exact thing who love this type of thing in the first place. So are you interested in the second time around if you didn't get it the first time? Did you know Carcassonne is still having expansions put out even now? The latest expansion is Siege and Defense. Yeah, right? The 7th major expansion for the 3rd edition of Carcassonne. Besieged by catapults, place your meeples in the city as defenders. Well, okay. Didn't we already see catapults? Isn't that one of those rare, really hard to get individual expansions from one of the earlier editions? Anyway, I thought that was just a nice little note there. And 7th major expansion, right? If some is good, more prints, more money. That's all I got. That's the latest news roundups and everything else that's caught my eye. Let me know what else is on your radar and what else you want to see. By the way, I sent a couple emails to some online board game apparel stores-ish, if you will. And so I guess this is a general polling question. If I got something, you know, not ugly atrocious in terms of apparel, with a logo with, you know, ish saying on board games related or my channel related, would you have any interest in actually supporting me in that way? And again, not even like a making money thing, but like, you know, I've always sort of wanted my own promo in a game, just to, you know, have myself out there, right? I don't have an award logo. I need to work on that. Devin, I'm going to hit you up with that. And that sort of thing along those lines. I just kind of want to get my branding out there. Marketing. I'm horrible at it. And so I'm thinking about that. So if that would be of any interest. Now, again, like, let me clarify this too, because I see this on the other crossover hobby interest that I sometimes peruse of wrestling. And people are like, oh, this wrestling shirt. Almost 99% of wrestling shirts can't be worn outside of your house because they look absolutely motherfucking atrocious. So I want stuff that is going to be like low-key like this, or just, you know, kind of just chic in that sense, not like just smack you in the face, oh my gosh, this is like just atrociously ugly or atrociously just, you know, ridiculous, you know, that sort of thing. Just very minimalistic style, if you will. Very straightforward to the point. But anyway, let me know what you think. Comment down below and let me know whether or not that'd be something of interest to you. It'd be really weird, but also awesomely, awesomely, awesomely cool seeing my logo on somebody's shirt, or seeing a shirt I designed in that way. So I understand the appeal, at least now, from a board game design aspect of things too, right? I've been recognized, I think, twice in public ever. That's it, right? I kind of want to go to one of these conventions at one point, like and just go to a convention and wear a hat the whole time and just see if anyone recognizes me, because I don't think I'm one of those people that would be recognized very easily, especially if I got that on, right? Like Tom Vassell, everybody knows Tom Vassell. Everybody knows, like, Board Game Co. Everybody knows, like, a lot of the other people who's just, you think board games and you think them. But, like, nobody thinks me. That's okay. Peace out. See you later.